Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting out war against the grey. Today's video, we have a Black Library review for Warhammer 40,000. Today, we're going to be checking out Fist of the Imperium by Andy Clark. Now, as always with these stories, I do like to listen to them on audio format while I'm doing some hobby, painting up the many things I always need to be getting painted up for whatever release we are working on or whatever thing we're trying to do on the channel. But I like listening to the audio versions on Audible, so we picked this up, and this is book number 6 of the Space Marines Conquest series. Now, this started when we started looking at the Devastation of Baal. We've done all of the books from Apocalypse, of Honor and Iron, War of Secrets, Ashes of Prospero, the Devastation of Baal, obviously, that we just mentioned, and of course, Fist of the Imperium. Here is the last of them. These came out at the early times of the sort of Primaris era of Warhammer 40,000, and I never really picked them up. I wasn't doing much with 40k at that time, but this one, as I mentioned, I listened to the audios. This is narrated by Richard Reed, who for my money is probably my favourite single voice actor they have doing this stuff. I think he's absolutely fantastic. So many of the stories I have read narrated by Richard Reed. In fact, he did the last book on book number 5, Apocalypse, by Josh Reynolds as well. But with that said, let's get talking about the story we are looking at here. And so, by their noble sacrifice is our world made mighty. Deep within the Segmentum Solar, an Imperial Fist honor guard lies slaughtered upon the very world they swore to protect. The mysterious cult responsible grows in power by the day, their malevolent tenets poisoning the hearts of Gyra's citizens, from its lowliest miner to its arrogant ruling class. To purge this threat, the Imperial Fist sent Primaris librarian Asta Lyderan and his tenacious brothers. The masters of siegecraft face an insurgent foe beyond any they have fought before. As dark omens proliferate, Lyderan finds himself embroiled in a battle of wits and wills with an enemy whose psychic might may surpass even his own, but this is a patient enemy, and with every passing hour, Gaia's doom grows ever closer. The stoic Sons of Dawn must leave their walls and embrace new allies or risk unleashing the apocalypse itself upon the very doorsteps of terror. So there are a few things to unpack in this little story before we move on. For those not in the know and maybe getting into Warhammer 40k lore, Terra is of course Earth. That is where humanity's sort of birthplace is. That is where the Emperor and the Golden Throne are. And Segmentum Solar is the solar system as we would know it. Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, all of that good stuff. So with that said, let's keep on going. Today's video is brought to you by Gap Games, a fantastic retailer in Australia for a variety of different miniature war games. If you'd like to help support the channel, we have an affiliate link where by clicking on and purchasing, you'll help support the channel, but you'll also help support Gap Games, which is a fantastic servant to the community. And so this story's purpose. This story is set in the early days of the Primaris Marines' introduction into the Loyalist Space Marine chapters. A lot of what this book does is really show the slowly building relationship between Primaris and Firstborn, and at times the not building relationship, as you know, many of the Firstborn, and especially in chapters like the Imperial Fist, which can be a little bit sort of rigid in their adherence to a codex or to the sort of tenets of the Imperium, and also, you know, aren't that accepting of things like psychers and stuff like that. It's just sort of showing, you know, that budding relationship, that beginnings of the relationship, and, you know, introduction of Primaris into the Marine chapters. It also does show the Imperial Fist as these like guardians and defenders of humanity, honor-bound and loyal to a fault in their sort of duties as well. You know, honor guards on planets within the Segmentum Solar is nothing sort of unheard of. The Imperial Fists are sort of these garrison workers at times, and so making sure things stay sort of safe on particular planets is something they do on the regular. And so that's really the big purpose here. You know, the Imperial Fist defending a planet that they are honor-bound to defend, and the building relationship of Primaris and Firstborn Marines. So our main character, as seen pictured here, is Asta Lyderan, an Imperial Fist's Primaris librarian. Now, he's of the epistolary rank, so he's of sort of the main sort of body of librarians. He's not any sort of high-ranking official within the Legion. You know, he is sort of that I guess he's, an authority figure. He's a librarian, but he's not sort of in that sort of inner council, as you will. He's sort of attached to a company here, the fifth company in instance of the Imperial Fist that he's attached to and working under their captain. Now, throughout the story, he will come into roles of leadership where he needs to take charge of certain things as well. But he is relatively new to sort of the Legion stuff, obviously having fought in the early days of the Crusade and all of that. He definitely has, some combat experience, but he is still very new to this current galaxy. And so what does change about our main character? I think the biggest thing about them that will change over the course of the story is growing into the boots of leadership. I mean, this is a common story we find with Marines. Someone thrown into a leadership role, now having to take it on, is a very good place to look at for Imperial Marine stories, but not only that, we definitely see his outlook on different factions within the Imperium and stuff like that change, on the, I guess, different enemies that they may face as well. He isn't as knowledgeable about everything. I mean, Cole taught them about lots of things that Cole knew about, but Cole didn't know about every threat that existed in the galaxy, so there's certainly some interesting things out there that Cole might not have known about. But he does change. He definitely does have, this growth cycle, and the friendships he builds over that, or maybe grudgingly respect ships, I guess. They're not always friendships. Maybe the respect he goes and garners for certain characters grows over time as well. He is an interesting character by the end of it that I think is very much changed from the original character we do see at the start. And so what does this book do? Well, I think for one thing, this is an interesting one. It makes Space Marines fallible. It makes them not Mary Sues of the galaxy. And this is something a lot of Space Marine novels really have trouble with. The Space Marines can overcome a lot of problems very easily. This book is not afraid to throw Space Marine lives into the meat grinder in order for story progression, for character progression, but also to show that the enemy really is something to be feared. I think a lot of times we see the Space Marines as sort of super soldiers and all of that, and they really sort of push home and show it. But this one really does show that the enemies they are facing are why the Space Marines need to be super soldiers, because the enemies they're facing are super enemies. You need super soldiers to fight super enemies in this universe, so that's exactly what we get in here. And I think this is a really, really good look on Space Marines as a whole. Makes them seem almost more heroic when they are fighting things and defeating things on a equal footing, rather than sort of, being these, I guess, Mary Sues at times. And so, before I go into the next little section here, I do want to give a spoiler warning. If you don't want to know who the Cult Uprising is, if you're maybe new to Warhammer lore and don't want to know what that particular cult might be doing and what its name is and stuff like that, and want to read the story to sort of get this information and learn in real time like the Imperial Fists, turn away for the rest of the video. I'm going to give you to the count of 5 if you are still here. There will be spoilers about what that particular force is. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You're still here, you probably care. 5, going to spoil it now. And so who would like this book? For me, Space Marine fans, and particularly obviously Imperial Fist fans, are going to get a good kick out of this book. I think it is really fun for those. They definitely act a lot like them. But the big thing here is Genes to the Cult fans. I don't think there's enough stories about Genes to the Cult out there. We obviously have Day of Ascension from their sort of perspective, but this definitely does have a lot of Genes to the Cult sort of action in it, and Genes to the Cult is doing pretty well at points in there as well. So definitely, if you are a fan of the Genes to the Cult, this has a lot of cool stuff in there for you to have a read of as well. And so, in summary, this was a really fun listen for me. Read if you have read it yourself. Strong character progression. The characters definitely grow over the course of the story, none more so than Leiter and himself. And it's not afraid to knock a character off as well. Whether it's a character they introduce and it's a short-lived character, or something more longer, sort of stretching throughout the story, they're not afraid. And that should be a point as well I think I need to make, is they build up characters really well, just to knock them off maybe at times a little bit quickly in this book, which isn't a fault at all times. It does spend time building up a character, only for seeing them maybe die in the same chapter, but I think that's nice. I generally like it. I like the reason this character is important to kill if it needs to be established why they are. For me, a solid B book, I think. this was really enjoyable. I think if I'm going to have to rate this out of all the Space Marine battle stories, I think it's probably my third favorite, with Apocalypse being number 1, Devastation of Baal number 2. This would probably be about number 3. I think it tops Ashes of Prospero, War of Secrets, and of Honor of Iron. But really, really good story nonetheless. If you have listened or read this particular story, Fist of the Imperium by Andy Clark, let us know your thoughts about it down in the comments below. And that's the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and also drop a comment down below letting us know what you thought about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our fine little community here at Sinful Gaming, we have a Discord server linked down in the video's description. Also linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel. You can use one of our affiliate links to Gap Games or Element Games if you're in Australia or the United Kingdom, or you can subscribe to our YouTube members or Patreon, or grab some merch from our merch stores on Teespring or Ko-fi. All the best ways to help support the channel. As a special thanks to all our Patreon and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patrons: Broken Chef, Andy C, Grimskull, Colorblind Magic, Benjamin Swallows, James Cater, Mark Harvey, Domir, Average Wargamer, JJ Austrian, Cure Dynamic, Andrew Bowen, Outer and Shot First, Kenny Lowell, and Soren. And to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, James Tillman, Disco, John Castle, and Gargamel196. Thank you all once again for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Stay safe everyone, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.